Welcome back, scholars. Let's get right to it. Today we're taking a really rigorous analytical look at AQA Topic 3.1.3. Specifically, we're zeroing in on the marketing mix, and even more directly, the promotional mix. Whether you're here to nail down that foundational knowledge, or you're trying to refine your exam technique for those top-tier evaluation marks, this explainer is going to give you a definitive, technical breakdown of exactly how and why businesses promote their products. Let's get started. So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll kick things off with the foundational purpose of promotion, then deconstruct the actual promotional mix. After that, we'll look at the high-touch world of personal selling, analyze the sheer strategic value of branding and loyalty, and finally, evaluate the internal and external influences that dictate a business's final choice. This is going to map out your revision notes perfectly. Section 1. Purpose of promotion. Okay, let's dive into this by establishing exactly what we mean when we say promotion, because frankly, it is way more than just printing off some flyers or running a TV ad. Promotion really encompasses all the marketing activities a business uses to satisfy customer needs by actively communicating value. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that promotion isn't just about driving immediate short-term sales. It's a multifaceted tool. It's designed to support much broader marketing objectives. We're talking lead generation, sparking that initial customer interest, but also building long-term brand awareness, deepening customer engagement, and ultimately ensuring customer retention. A truly successful promotional strategy doesn't just win a customer once, it keeps them coming back for more. So for your exams, remember, if you define promotion purely as selling, you are going to lose foundational marks. Always link it back to those broader objectives. Moving right along to Section 2, the promotional mix. Now that we understand the why, let's look at the what. How exactly do marketers achieve these big objectives? Well, they do it by selecting the perfect combination of tools. The promotional mix basically consists of 4 core pillars. First, advertising, which is your traditional paid, non-personal communication. Next, social media and influencers, a massively growing sector all about digital engagement and highly targeted audiences. Then you've got sales promotions, which are those short-term tactical incentives, like discounts. And finally, sponsorship, where a brand aligns itself with an event or a person to really boost public relations and corporate image. Let's actually contrast 2 of these pillars so we can see their strategic differences. Think of traditional broadcast advertising, like television or radio, as casting a massive wide net. It gives you incredible, broad market reach, making it fantastic for general brand awareness. Influencer-led social media marketing, on the other hand, is more like a laser beam. An influencer drives purchasing decisions because they've already built this highly engaged, trusting relationship with a very specific audience. It's hyper-targeted. When a brand like Gymshark uses influencers, they aren't just broadcasting, they're tapping into an existing community. And honestly, if the costs are managed right, this can yield a tremendously high return on investment compared to traditional ads. All right, it's time to put this theory into practice. Pause the video now and complete task 1. I want you to use your AO3 analysis skills to structure a really clear chain of reasoning here. Explain exactly why this highly targeted approach might convert better than a generic mass-market television ad. Welcome back. Section 3, Power of Personal Selling. Let's shift our focus to a much more specialized, high-touch element of the mix. This is where promotion stops being a broadcast and becomes a direct, two-way conversation. So personal selling relies incredibly heavily on what we call pipeline management. That means tracking potential sales opportunities through different stages to guarantee a steady flow of revenue. And this whole process is heavily supported by CRM, customer relationship management systems. A solid CRM helps a business track how they acquire customers, organize their lead generation, and analyze every interaction to maximize client retention. It basically transforms a random list of contacts into a highly structured, predictable sales funnel. At the absolute heart of all this are the account managers and dedicated sales teams. Look, in business-to-business or really high-value markets, you can't just rely on a clever Instagram post to close a massive deal. It doesn't work that way. Account managers step in to provide bespoke solutions. They're the ones building trust, negotiating the complex terms, and ensuring long-term retention. Their whole job is to secure a competitive advantage by offering a level of personalized service that mass marketing literally cannot match. Section 4. Branding and loyalty. While personal selling is all about building relationships one-on-one, branding is how you build a relationship with the entire market. Let's unpack the immense strategic value of building a truly recognizable brand. Now, What's really interesting about this Gymshark case study is the sheer ambition it represents. Ben Francis, Gymshark's founder, didn't just want to sell shirts. He wanted his brand to rival global giants like Nike. And a strong brand is instantly distinguishable from competitors, whether that's through a slick logo or a very specific cultural vibe. For Gymshark, leveraging Ben's own personal brand, alongside a really carefully selected roster of fitness influencers, allowed them to carve out a totally distinct identity in a market that is notoriously fast-moving and competitive. And here is where it translates to the bottom line. This quote hits the nail on the head regarding the financial impact of brand equity. Brand loyalty directly impacts your price elasticity of demand. If customers genuinely trust and identify with your brand, they are simply less sensitive to price changes. Think about it. If Nike or Gymshark bumps up their prices, their loyal customers are still going to buy the product. The demand becomes price inelastic, meaning a value of less than one. This gives a business massive pricing power and brilliantly protects their profit margins. This brings us to a really crucial evaluative judgment. Pause the video now and complete task 2. I want you to fire up your AO4 evaluation skills here. Weigh the upfront costs and the risks of long-term brand equity against the immediate, but potentially margin-damaging, tactic of just discounting your products. Excellent work. All right, moving on to Section 5, Influences on Choice. We have reached the final cognitive stage of our masterclass, synthesis. How does a business actually choose which promotional tools to use? Well, they have to balance a lot of competing forces. Choosing the promotional mix is like a constant push and pull between internal and external influences. Internally, a business is tied down by its marketing budget and steered by its specific objectives, like, are we trying to generate fresh leads right now, or are we focused on retaining the customers we have? Externally, they've got to react to what competitors are doing, shifts in target market demographics, and the cyclical demand driven by the broader economic cycle. You absolutely cannot plan your promotion in a vacuum. Let's anchor this theory to a real context. Take Far More Cycles. They are an independent specialist retailer focusing on their local community. They sell high-margin e-bikes, but right now, they're suffering from falling sales and shrinking operating profit margins. And this is happening despite keeping a really high level of staffing, mainly because of their structure as a worker cooperative. Essentially, they're bleeding market share to massive national chains that have the advantage of economies of scale. And this brilliantly illustrates their current struggle. £7.80. That is what Farmer Cycles is currently paying per click on their digital advertising. At that price, they're literally buying their competitors' lunch. Compared to the big national chains who have entire teams of digital marketing specialists optimizing these costs, Farmer is getting an incredibly poor return on their marketing spend. Their digital targeting is weak, and it's just draining their budget without actually bringing in those crucial high-margin sales. All right, it is time for your final active learning challenge. Pause the video now and complete Task 3. Apply your AO2 skills to design and justify a localized, highly cost-effective promotional solution. You need to play to an independent retailer's strengths and get them far away from that ridiculously inefficient £7.80 digital click. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to chew on for your future exam answers. We've just seen that long-term brand building creates that beautiful, inelastic demand, while short-term sales promotions tend to squeeze margins and can actually train your customers to only buy when things are cheap. So, if constant discounting damages long-term perceived value, can a business ever truly discount its way to market dominance? Consider that ultimate trade-off between volume and brand equity as you carry on with your revision. Thanks for your focus today, scholars. Keep analyzing, keep evaluating, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.